Pakistan, where some breaking inputs are coming in over the case in which Hafeez Saeed's house arrest was being heard. Now, it's being said that terrorist Hafeez Saeed will stay under house arrest. The court has accepted the government's plea to adjourn the hearing. Now, this is an important case where where it's been said the court has agreed that Hafeez Saeed will not walk free yet. His detention under Pakistan's Anti-Terror Act of 2007 will continue. And for more on this, we are joined in by our senior editor, Surya Gangadharan. Surya, this is an important step. Do you think this will now make a case where people like Hafeez Saeed will be made accountable, or is this just a ruse by Pakistan to try and fool the Americans that they are taking some action against Hafeez Saeed?
No, Saleh, from the information we are getting, it appears that the hearing was done in camera, meaning it was not done in public. And we are not clear about what kind of information was shared by the government with the court. And from what we are given to understand, there will be another hearing perhaps at some future date. We are not sure when this will happen. So pending that hearing, Hafeez Saeed's detention continues. So in that sense, there is really no change in his status. He remains under house arrest. We have no clue whether the Pakistani government has any hard information they shared with the judge. What kind of information it was any other information something we had given them over the years regarding Hafeez Saeed's role in the Mumbai attacks? We are not clear about any of these issues.
Absolutely. And also, Surya, considering the fact that the court had recently, pulled up the Pakistani government saying that a person cannot be under house arrest, indefinitely unless evidence has been presented. So India has been giving evidence against Hafeez Saeed for a very long time now. Can we expect that the Pakistani establishment will now act against Hafeez Saeed? Or do you think this is just a way of, fooling people, saying that, look, we are taking action, despite the fact that Hafeez Saeed is able to, pull the strings from being under house arrest?
See, we have gone down this route before with Pakistan. They arrest certain people, keep them under detention, and after a while let them off when the outcry subsides. So we are seeing the same kind of thing happening all over again. This time it's important for Pakistan that Hafeez Saeed remains under detention because there is an opening with the US that is now happening. As you're aware, only the other day, a US-Canadian couple were released after 5 years in the custody of the Taliban. The Pakistanis claim he was in Afghanistan. We're not very sure about that. From what the Americans are saying, this couple were in Pakistan. They were kept perhaps under detention by groups linked to the Pakistani military. So at this time, when Pakistan-US relations are under a bit of a cloud and there is some clarity that the Pakistanis need, they are careful to make the right moves. Therefore, Hafeez Saeed remains in custody.
Absolutely. And also considering the fact, Surya, that recently Khwaja Asif, the foreign minister in Pakistan, had said that Hafeez Saeed and his ilk are actually a liability for Pakistan. So can we expect some concrete action to be taken, or do you think this is something which Pakistan is doing only because it is under pressure from the United States?
Like I mentioned, Pakistan has gone down this route before. And for the foreign minister to make those kind of remarks in public that Hafeez Saeed is a liability, it was made at a Asia Society seminar where he was questioned on various aspects of Pakistan providing sanctuary to terror groups. So in that sense, if you look at the setting, if you look at the fact that Pakistan has been under pressure by the Trump administration on the issue of terrorism and terror sanctuaries, it's not very surprising that they came out and made those remarks. This is not to say that the Pakistani government is not embarrassed by their links with terror groups. But the point here is that it is the Pakistani military which sustains and supports these terror groups as proxy warriors in its fight against India, in its fight against Afghanistan.
Proxy warriors by Pakistan. Surya, I'll have to interrupt you there because I'm told that we're also joined over the phone line by retired Admiral Javed Iqbal. Admiral, how do you view this development? Is Pakistan serious in dealing with elements such as Hafeez Saeed?
Look, you see, we don't have to oblige India to look serious.
No, you don't have to oblige India, but you have to deal with the problem which is there in your country.
You listen to me, or if you want to interrupt, then don't call me.
No, go ahead, Admiral, go ahead. You were making a point, but the point which I was saying was you don't have to oblige India.
Put your words in my mouth, then please don't call me in future.
No, go ahead, Admiral. Make your point.
Look, Pakistan is an independent country, and we have our, foreign policy, our defense policy, our defense prerogative. So whatever we are doing, like India does for their good, we will do for our good. As far as Hafeez Saeed and court decision is concerned, our courts are independent. If a elected prime minister can be sent home, then why should we worry about these small little decisions which court, according to their wisdom, they didn't find it fit to continue. So I don't see why you think that Pakistan is a client state and we should oblige you and we should fulfill your dreams. I think you are obsessed with Hafeez Saeed and people like that, and you are ruining the peace of this region, and you will pay the price. You see, you are only covering Kashmir atrocities, and that is your objective, but you are not, achieving that objective.
But Admiral, with all due respect, Hafeez Saeed was under house arrest under the anti-terror law of Pakistan 2007. So this is an issue which Pakistan is waking up to.
Hafeez Saeed could be anything. Hafeez Saeed could be a liability. Hafeez Saeed could be a, whatever he is. The thing is, if I am, now even Prime Minister is appearing before Apex Court, with so many, allegations, a person has to be, sentenced to any degree with adequate proof. And if you consider that our judicial system is not good enough for that, then we don't care, because we don't interfere in your courts. Your courts are independent and our courts are independent. So I think you should, Hafeez Saeed is not our priority. We have, our foreign minister, our right now, our war against terror, and we have declared that our soil will not be allowed to be used against any country. This is good enough. Only, you see, you are playing this game to befool your crowd, your people, and earlier you stop it, better it is for India and Pakistan.
But Admiral, one other quick question which I'd like to ask you before I let you go is, the Pakistani foreign minister has said that people like Hafeez Saeed are a liability. Is it that Pakistan now acknowledges that there was a fundamental mistake in what it had done earlier and now it is trying to put its house in order?
Greater than reality. If in a family, a person, has a perception that he is a liability, then that family pays the price. We are paying the price for that. And I think, but the reality is that nobody, no country in the world has paid more price for this, terrorist who was created by USA, United States of America.
Right.
And, helped by India. Now, and Israel. Are you listening clearly or not? I am saying the biggest terrorist state is United States of America, who has ruined the peace of this region, and particularly the Middle East, because they are Muslims. You see what is happening in Burma. You see what is happening in Kashmir. You have become, not human beings, you have become animals.
Right, Admiral, you're entitled to your opinion. You are making certain points, but the fact of the matter is the United States has accused Pakistan of providing safe haven for terrorists, and it appears that the Pakistani establishment is acting on basis of that pressure from the United States. Do continue to stay on with this, Admiral. Meanwhile, I'm also joined by Sushants, who is a strategic affairs expert. Sushants, how do you view this development? Hafeez Saeed will not walk free. He will continue to remain under detention, under house arrest in Pakistan.
Well, he's pretty much free even under house arrest. It's not as though he's incommunicado. It's not as though any stiff penalty is being imposed upon him. So I don't see why we should be celebrating this. It's the eyewash action which the Pakistani state has taken, which continues. Now, for the Pakistani state to take the plea in court that this is a very sensitive matter and we can't present the proof in the court, how crazy is that? If the guy is a terrorist and the Pakistanis have said that they will not allow terrorists to function in their country, then what prevents them from throwing the book at those fellows, producing the necessary evidence, prosecuting the fellow, and instead of keeping him in, comfort of his house, where he can address all his people, he can stay in contact with all his terrorist cadres, they should put him in prison or preferably even hang him. After all, that's what the military courts are for.
Right.
Now, this whole charade which is going on is basically to try and buy time, because I think the Pakistanis realize that in probably November there is another meeting of the FATF, and they are running a little scared that maybe, because the Americans are breathing down their neck, there could be some kind of financial restrictions or sanctions which could be coming their way. So it's that charade which they are playing. They're not serious about either fighting terrorism or dismantling the infrastructure of terror. And that's the game which is continuing. And they're using the courts as a shield rather than as an instrument to punish the terrorists.
Absolutely. So you're saying essentially that the judiciary in Pakistan is being used as a shield. But also, how do you rate comments which have been made by people like Khwaja Hasif, who've said that Hafeez Saeed is a liability? And we've also seen that Hafeez Saeed is under house arrest under Pakistan's anti-terror law of 2007. Do you think this is just something which Pakistan is doing to try and please the United States, which is breathing down on its neck?
No, I don't think Hafeez Saeed is under house arrest under the Anti-Terrorist Act.
Well, he was arrested under the Anti-Terror Act of 2007 in Pakistan.
I'm afraid then he's misrepresenting, because the Anti-Terror Act does not provide for a house arrest. He has been kept under what is called the Maintenance of Public Order, the MPO, which is basically preventive detention. We have a similar kind of a thing in our statute. So this is not under the Anti-Terrorist Act. Under the Anti-Terror Act, he would have been in jail, not under house arrest.
Well, but at least that is what Pakistanis had said when they had, put him under house arrest in January to begin with.
Which is precisely why I say you shouldn't take whatever the Pakistanis say at face value, because there's always dissemble in whatever they say and whatever they do. It's a double cross and double game and double speak all the way, which is what is happening in this case. So when Khwaja Asif tells the Americans that he is a liability, he's trying to, it depends upon the audience he's addressing. If he is a liability, then what has the Pakistani state proposed to do about it? They're actually mainstreaming the guy. They are allowing, and no less than a person who is probably Khwaja Asif's boss, which is the military spokesman, says that, these are guys who can be adjusted into the mainstream. So, frankly, Khwaja Asif is neither here nor there. I really don't take the word of any civilian in Pakistan seriously. I think it should be treated with other
Sushants, do continue to stay on with us. Let me actually take that question to our senior editor, Surya Gangadharan. Surya, the fact of the matter is, despite the fact that Pakistan establishment says that they are acting against Hafeez Saeed, he has floated his own political party, which has so far not been given recognition by Pakistan's election commission. But the fact of the matter is, his candidate contested one of the by-polls and did reasonably well, securing 4,000 votes and coming in third, just behind the PMLN and the Tehreek-e-Insaf Imran Khan's party. How do you see these developments? Is there an attempt at mainstreaming these terror outfits within Pakistan?
I don't think there's any doubt about on that score. I mean, if you look at it, every legitimate politician in Pakistan today is facing some charge or the other. Even Imran Khan is facing allegations of graft. You have Nawaz Sharif, who was unseated. You have his own finance minister, Ishaq Dar, is accused of corruption. Much of the Sharif family is in exile in London. I mean, for that matter, there are no credible politicians left on the ground. And now the space is being cleared for all these jihadi groups to bring them into politics. So I think the strategy of the Pakistani military security establishment is very clear. Mainstream the jihadis.
To mainstream the jihadis. Let me actually take that take that point to Sushant. Sushant, how do you view this development of these jihadi elements, these terror elements, getting into mainstream politics in Pakistan and calling the shots? How do you think this is going to change Pakistan's relationship with India?
Well, as far as India is concerned, it makes very little difference to us whether it's a jihadi in uniform or it's a jihadi in mufti. Let's face it, even when the so-called liberals were running the show in Pakistan, right from 47, 48 till as recently as the mid-80s or late 80s. Was Pakistan very well disposed towards us? We fought most of our wars during that period. And the kind of Islamist supremacism and the Islamofascism which we see today was present even then.
Absolutely.
So it makes very little difference to us who is ruling the roost. I think it's more important from the Pakistani viewpoint because I don't think they're mainstreaming the jihadists. My own take is that they're jihadizing the mainstream.
Absolutely, indeed, Sushant. We'll have to leave it there. This is an issue which, more than India, Pakistan will have to contend with. What does it mean to mainstream these jihadi elements? Thank you very much indeed to Sushant Sarin, to Surya Gangadharan, and also to Admiral Iqbal. Well, it's an important development. Hafeez Saeed continues to remain under house arrest. Is this some bona fide action that's being taken by the Pakistani establishment, or is it just a charade which Pakistan is resorting to under American pressure? All of this we'll, of course, get to know in the ensuing days.